The scale of our global food waste problem is staggering, almost beyond comprehension. Every single day, households across the world throw away more than 1 billion meals. Imagine that for a moment. While hundreds of millions of people go to bed hungry, we are discarding perfectly edible food on an industrial scale. Annually, this amounts to roughly 1/3 of all the food we produce, a colossal 1.6 billion tons simply lost or wasted. This isn't just a moral failure, it is an economic catastrophe costing the global economy approximately $1 trillion every single year. We are essentially taking money, resources and human effort and tossing them directly into a landfill. This waste has a profound and destructive impact on our planet. The food we lose and waste is responsible for 8 to 10% of all global greenhouse gas emissions. That is a larger carbon footprint than the entire aviation and shipping industries combined. When food rots in landfills, it releases methane, a potent greenhouse gas that is far more damaging to the atmosphere than carbon dioxide in the short term. We are actively warming our planet by failing to manage our food systems responsibly. The water, land and energy used to grow, process and transport this food are all squandered, placing an immense and unnecessary strain on our planet's finite resources. The irony is that the amount of food we throw away is more than enough to solve world hunger. The wasted food could feed over 2 billion people, which is more than double the number of individuals who currently face food insecurity. We've created a system that is fundamentally broken, one that produces abundance and scarcity at the same time. This paradox should serve as a powerful wake-up call for all of us. We cannot continue to operate within a linear model of take, make, dispose when the consequences are so severe for both people and the planet. The time for incremental adjustments has long passed. We need a complete system overhaul. This is not a problem that belongs to someone else. It is a shared responsibility that spans from the farmer's field to our own dinner tables. Waste occurs at every single stage of the supply chain, from production and processing to retail and final consumption. As of 2024, the United Nations reports confirm that 19% of all food produced is wasted by households, restaurants and shops alone. This points to a deeply ingrained cultural and behavioral issue. We have become disconnected from the true value of food. It is time to reconnect, to understand the journey of our food and to finally treat it as the precious resource it truly is. When we talk about food waste, our minds often jump to a half-eaten sandwich or expired milk, but the reality is far broader and filled with incredible potential. A massive shadow economy of valuable byproducts exists within our food system. This includes everything from the leaves, stems, and husks left in the field after harvest to the pulp, pomace, and peels that are discarded during food processing. These are not waste materials in the traditional sense. They are untapped resources, rich in nutrients, fibers, and valuable compounds. This process of turning these streams into higher value products is called valorization, a powerful concept that aligns with our most urgent sustainable development goals. The business world is already showing us what is possible when we apply creativity to these so-called waste streams. Consider whey, the liquid byproduct of cheese making. For decades, it was simply poured down the drain. Today, it is the foundation of a $10 billion global protein supplement market, a staple for athletes and health-conscious consumers. Another brilliant example is aquafaba, the viscous water from a can of chickpeas. Once discarded without a second thought, major companies like Unilever now use it as a brilliant egg substitute in vegan mayonnaise. These are not niche ideas, they are mainstream successes built from materials we once called trash. The innovation doesn't stop there. Breweries produce enormous quantities of spent grain after the brewing process. Instead of being discarded, this grain is now being transformed into high-protein, high-fiber flour for baking or used as a substrate to grow nutritious meat alternatives. Similarly, as the US cattle herd reached an all-time low in 2025, the industry is getting smarter. New processes can now carefully separate marbling fat from meat trimmings, extracting high-value proteins and tallow that would have otherwise been lost. Each of these examples demonstrates a simple truth. Waste is merely a resource in the wrong place. This revolution extends far beyond the food industry. The valuable compounds extracted from agricultural byproducts are finding their way into a diverse range of sectors. We are seeing them used in cosmetics, textiles, pharmaceuticals, and even construction materials. Grape pomace from winemaking, olive pomace and spent coffee grounds are all treasure troves of antioxidants and other beneficial molecules. By viewing our food system through a circular lens, we are not just reducing waste, we are unlocking over $1 trillion in annual economic value and creating entirely new industries that are regenerative by design. Despite the enormous opportunity, progress in tackling food waste remains painfully slow. One of the most significant barriers is purely structural. Food is often priced too cheaply. In many parts of the world, the cost of food does not reflect the true cost of its production, including its environmental and social impacts. Because of this, the financial incentive for a company to prevent waste is often weaker than the cost of implementing new processes to manage it. When waste is perceived as having little to no value, it is treated as such. Companies are logically structured to optimize their main product line, not the side streams that are seen as a nuisance. Furthermore, investment and innovation have traditionally chased the wrong goals. For decades, the primary focus of agricultural research and development has been on increasing crop yields, growing more, faster. While this was once a noble goal, it has created a system of overproduction where little thought is given to making better use of what we already have. We need a fundamental shift in our investment priorities. Capital needs to flow towards technologies and business models that embrace a circular economy, focusing on valorization and resource efficiency rather than just raw output. Courageous leaders must champion this shift away from the old linear mindset. Another major obstacle is the sheer lack of infrastructure. To effectively upcycle food byproducts, you need systems for collection, segregation, and processing. In most places, these systems simply do not exist. A farmer with tons of crop residue or a factory with vats of fruit pulp has no easy or cost-effective way to get these materials to a facility that can use them. Building this new infrastructure requires coordination, investment, and a long-term vision. Without these logistical backbones, even the most innovative upcycling ideas will struggle to scale beyond a local or niche level, leaving vast quantities of valuable resources to rot. Finally, there is a lack of collaboration and awareness. The solutions to food waste often lie at the intersection of different industries. A food company's byproduct could be a cosmetic company's star ingredient or a biotech firm's perfect feedstock, yet these industries rarely talk to each other. They operate in silos, each focused on its own supply chain, blind to the symbiotic relationships that could be formed. Breaking down these walls requires new coalitions between food producers, manufacturers, technology firms, and retailers. It requires a shared understanding that one company's waste is another's raw material, and that by working together, we can create a more resilient and profitable system for everyone. The good news is that we already have the tools and the ingenuity to build a better system. Simple, proven solutions and cutting-edge technologies are paving the way forward. In South Korea, strong government policies and mandatory composting rules have led to the recycling of nearly 100% of the nation's food waste, turning it into fertilizer and animal feed. We are also seeing the power of biotechnology. Simple fermentation and more advanced methods like ultrasonic-assisted hydrolysis, which a 2025 study found can boost bioethanol yield from potato waste by nearly 30%, can efficiently convert residues into high-value proteins, fats, and fuels. Technology is also providing smarter ways to prevent waste at the source. Across Europe, supermarkets are now using AI-powered dynamic pricing apps. These systems automatically reduce the price of perishable goods as they near their expiration date, a simple intervention that has already cut food waste in partner stores by an incredible 39%. In Saudi Arabia, in-store hydroponic vertical farms are growing leafy greens on demand, slashing food waste from a typical 40% down to almost zero while using 90% less water. These are not futuristic dreams. They are practical, scalable solutions that are working right now. To accelerate this transition, we need courageous leadership from both business and government. Companies must move beyond optimizing their primary product and start seeing their entire output as a source of value. This requires new business models and cross-industry partnerships, creating a true circular bioeconomy. Governments can support this shift by implementing true cost accounting, which factors environmental impacts into the price of goods and by providing incentives for businesses that invest in waste valorization infrastructure. Policies, like the mandatory composting rules now in effect in France and New York City, are powerful steps in the right direction. Ultimately, we must change our perspective. Food waste is not a problem to be managed. It is an opportunity to be seized. It is a chance to build a more efficient, resilient, and equitable food system. It offers a pathway to create new jobs, spark innovation, and generate immense economic value while simultaneously healing our planet. Every discarded fruit peel, every leftover crop stalk, and every forgotten meal is a signal of a system that is failing, but it is also a raw material for a better future. The trillion-dollar revolution is not about discovering a new resource, but about finally seeing the treasure we have been throwing away all along.